Before the season even began, Juan Soto was the player everyone was watching. That's because he signed a 15-year, $765 million contract in the offseason. A truly astronomical deal. It wasn't just the biggest contract in MLB history. With that deal, Soto became the highest-paid athlete in all of professional sports. But so far, this season, his numbers have been not great. Sure, last season was the best of his career, so we weren't expecting him to fully match those numbers. But still, what he's done so far, it's just not cutting it. So, what's going on with Juan Soto? Why is he struggling? And how long is this slump going to last? Let's break it down. So first, let's take a look at the numbers Juan Soto is putting up this season and see if he's actually in a slump or if the story's a bit more complicated. As of June 12th, Juan Soto has played 66 games with 59 hits, 12 home runs, and 33 RBIs. He's batting .248 with an .840 OPS, a 135 WRC+, and 1.5 WAR. If we're just looking at the raw numbers, yeah, they're a bit underwhelming. But when you compare him to two other players with similar massive contracts, you really start to feel the gap. Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. Ohtani, in 66 games, has 77 hits, 23 home runs, and 39 RBIs. He's slashing .292 with a 1.011 OPS, 177 WRC+, and 3.3 WAR. Judge, through 65 games, has 97 hits, 24 home runs, and 58 RBIs. He's hitting .396 with a 1.267 OPS, an eye-popping 246 WRC+, and 5.7 WAR. The numbers aren't even close. It's honestly kinda ridiculous. Of course, Judge is on an absolute tear this year, so yeah, maybe it's not even fair to compare. Let's just compare him to himself. Looking back at his numbers from this time last year, in 66 games, he had 77 hits, 17 home runs, and 53 RBIs. With a .316 average, 1.120 OPS, and 1.87 WRC+. Yeah, it's clear. Soto's falling short of both the expectations that come with his contract and the standard he set for himself last year. So now the question is, why? Let's dig into what might be going on. Let's start with identifying the problem. Let's take a look at some of the underlying hitting metrics. If we look at his batted ball metrics, they're still mostly high level this year. Sure, there are some areas where he's dipped compared to last season, but overall, he's still putting up numbers near the top of the league. If there's one thing that's still as sharp as ever, it's Soto's plate discipline, his biggest strength. He leads the league in walk rate, and he's also #1 in chase rate. His eye at the plate is still absolutely elite. So no, he hasn't fallen off. That kind of talk's just an overreaction. Alright, let's check out some of his batted ball stats. His hard hit rate dipped slightly, from 57% to 54.7%, and his barrel rate dropped more noticeably, from 19.7% to 14.6%. On the flip side, his whiff rate improved, going from 21.5% to 20%, and he's squared up the ball more often too, up from 31.9% to 34%. So yeah, saying Soto's swing is broken, that just doesn't hold up. He's still putting up elite level numbers in key contact metrics. So then, what's the issue? Could this drop in production really just be bad luck? Something has to have changed, right? It's time to figure out what that is, what really jumps out. Surprisingly, it's something in his mechanics. There's a noticeable change in bat speed and swing length. Last year, his bat speed averaged 75.4 miles per hour, ranking in the top 6% of the league. But this season, it's down to 73.5 miles per hour. That's a 2 mile per hour drop, putting him in the top 26% instead. Looking closer, the percentage of swings at or above 75 miles per hour dropped even more sharply, from 59.2% down to 39.6%, a nearly 20% decline. There's definitely something going on here. But on the flip side, his swing length has actually increased. In 2024, his swing length was 7.0 feet, but in 2025, it's gone up to 7.3 feet. It's clear that Soto's current swing mechanics have changed compared to his best year last season. If you think about why this matters, the conclusion comes pretty quickly. He's swinging a longer path, but with less speed. Of course, that makes it harder to consistently hit the ball well. A good way to check this is by looking at his hitting point. Compared to last year, his hitting point has shifted slightly later. Where he usually made contact in front of the plate last year, this year he's hitting the ball closer to or even above the plate. The difference is just 2.2 inches, But in baseball, that small gap is anything but insignificant. It helps explain why his hard-hit balls have dropped and why more balls in play are turning into outs compared to last year. The New York Mets' David Stearns said in an interview, his ground ball rate has gone up a bit compared to before, and Soto is aware of that too. That's actually true. Soto's ground ball rate has risen from 45% to 52%. But looking at his entire career, this isn't really a downgrade. Yeah, it's still within his usual range. The real issue isn't that. The bigger problem is his pull rate. More specifically, the rate of pulled fly balls has gone down. This year, his pulled fly ball rate is only 11%, down significantly from 19% last year. This ties back to what we talked about earlier, hitting point. Since he's making contact later, his timing is off, which leads to fewer hard pull hits. But is that really all there is? I want to bring up one more factor, so the mental side of things. In May, Soto swung at just 53% of pitches inside the zone. That's far below anything he's done in his career, almost his lowest rate ever. On top of that, he's taken 74% of first pitch strikes so far this season, which is the second highest rate in his career. And his trademark move, the Soto shuffle, hasn't been seen lately either. He even mentioned that once he's satisfied with his performance, he might bring back the shuffle. It's clear that Soto is probably feeling some mental pressure right now. Actually, it'd be weird if he wasn't. A massive contract playing in his hometown New York, and a rough start to the season. There's no way he wouldn't feel some stress beyond just skill and physical stuff. When Soto said back in April, having Aaron Judge batting right after me was a good thing for me. Maybe that was the moment he let out some of the pressure he's been feeling. But things are changing. Since the recent series against Colorado, we've definitely seen a shift. On June 7th, in Game 1 against Colorado, he went 3 for 4 with a walk. On June 9th, in Game 3, he had 3 hits and 3 walks in 3 at-bats. And in the Washington series, he recorded 4 hits, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs in 8 at-bats. Looks like he's finally finding a spark for a comeback. Since before the Colorado series, Soto has started swinging more aggressively again. He's attacking pitches inside the zone harder and taking advantage of favorable counts he earns with his plate discipline, swinging decisively instead of holding back. Just like last year with the Yankees when Aaron Judge was batting right behind Guy. Of course, it's hard to say. He's fully back based on just these few games. We'll need to see his performance over 2 series or even a full month to really know if he's truly returned to form. But I don't buy into those rumors saying his form is completely broken. Juan Soto is a player who's already established his own game. I believe he can turn this around and get back to showing his true self. So, what kind of numbers will Soto put up by the end of this season? And can the Mets actually win the World Series this year? That's the story of Soto, one of MLB's biggest names right now. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.